I call to order this regular meeting of the Monument Town Council, Monday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. Please rise for the pledge. Ms. Erickson, will you take roll, please?
Mayor LaKind,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem King,
Here.
Councilmember Abbott,
Here.
Councilmember Fiorito,
Here.
Councilmember Chronic,
Here.
Councilmember Kimple,
Here.
and Councilmember Romanello is running late.
Okay. Mr. Cole, any disclosures of conflicts of interest for tonight's meeting?
Mr. Mayor, I received no conflict disclosures for this meeting.
And we have before us an agenda and our consent agenda. Any comments or questions related to or modifications to the agenda?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda and the agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Erickson.
Councilmember Fiorito,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem King,
Yes.
Councilmember Kimple,
Yes.
Councilmember Abbott,
Yes.
Mayor LaKind,
Yes.
Councilmember Chronic.
Yes.
Okay. First up is our 2024 annual report. I have to say this was spectacularly done. Super impressed by all I'm sure you're going to give kudos to staff, so I won't steal your thunder, but I just thought it was absolutely spectacular.
Great. Well, thank you. As presented in your packet, we highlighted some of the projects and accomplishments of 2024, and I definitely do appreciate the work of Laura Hogan and Portia Herman for collecting the information and putting all the information together in a nice format. And I'd like to thank the rest of the departments who provided pictures and content and information in order to create this annual report for council as well as the public. So this will be posted to our website tomorrow so that it'll be available to the public. And we are happy to answer any questions either now or as you read through the report and you have any questions about any of the projects or anything that's in there. Thank you.
Is there any questions or comments from council about the report? Is that a new picture they got for you, smiling like that?
So I need an updated headshot. I really hate that picture.
Well, I'd say we would do headshots again, but you're gonna have to do it on your own because everybody's still the same up here. Okay, we'll move on to resolutions. 18/2025, a resolution approving an amendment to an engineering contract for design and engineering services for an iron removal systems for wells 11, 12, and 13. Mr. Tharnish.
Good evening, council. The resolution you have in front of you tonight is to approve an amendment to the engineering contract for design and engineering to design an iron removal system for wells 11, 12, and 13. In the background paper that I provided information about the staff conducting a pilot study. Well, let me take it a step back. When we had these wells completed and turned them on to pump into the system, within a day, we started getting complaints about water tasting metallic and had a slight brownish tint to it, which were all indicators of high iron content. So we ended up shutting the well down, took a bunch of samples and found out that the iron levels had risen dramatically. When you put a new well into service, there is a complete set of sampling that the state requires across the board from radium to irons and phosphates. And there's just tons of thousands of dollars worth of testing that's completed. So we did sample for iron on the initial raw water, and there was some levels, but they weren't enough of a concern. They were low enough compared to other wells that once we put that well into service, that we would take advantage of dilution that's in the system and it would get dispersed and we wouldn't have the issue normally. But we discovered when we put these wells in that the raw water iron had gone up dramatically from the initial testing. So in order to combat that, we thought we would do a lot of the work ahead of time. And so we have enough experience with our staff that we conducted a pilot study, did some jar testing, figured out that the type of filtration we're going to need and at what level. And then we have to turn it over to engineers because they have to provide a design change to CDPHE because it's a change to your treatment. And in order to do that, we have Forsgren Associates who did the design on the initial wells systems. And that contract is still valid rather than have to go through a complete search for a new firm and bring them up to date. We thought that most convenient thing and the most logical thing to do would be to see if we can get an amendment to their current contract, since they have all the background data on these wells from the initial testing, and have them design up these filtration sites and submit it to the state as part of the design change. And once the state approves that, then we can come back to you with a bid process that we'll use to construct that. And then we'll try to get at least one of these wells corrected before our heavy demand period starts in the summer. And then the other two can follow because one well produces a lot more water than the other two. So if there are any questions, I did put two options on here. The $74,900 was to do all three sites. It's a not to exceed cost. But there is an option in there that if we ran into some constraints on budget, then we would do the well 11 first, which is the bigger producer, at a cost of $37,500. And then we would look at maybe after summer doing the remaining two. So there is some cost savings by having them design all three. And then when we go to bid, it's just a matter of timing. We'll have the contractor do the well 11 well first, and then the others will follow. Are there any questions concerning this project?
So this is just for design work.
This is just for design work.
So if we budget the 74.9 and we don't use it,
Then,
just comes back to us.
well, we would only pay for work done. Yes,
Right, but it would not exceed 74.9 for the three designs.
that is correct.
So I don't see harm in allocating the money. And if it doesn't get used, it goes back, it's going to 2A, right?
Yes, it's still part of the new wells that were drilled. It would fit the definition of the new infrastructure.
I think my bigger concern is what is an iron mitigation system going to cost?
We have some preliminary estimates, but we really won't know until the design is approved by the state before we can even put together a bid package. But it's going to be in the $500,000 range at a minimum.
For three or
For all
each?
three combined, yeah.
And all three wells have high iron.
Yes, but 11 is the
The high-
biggest concern because that's our most immediate impact. It's the one that's closest to the houses when you put it into the distribution main. The other two wells have a little more distance and time before the first customer receives that water. And reason why these costs are higher is it's not only the filtering system that has to be installed, but once you install the filter and you move the chlorine disinfection further upstream, you're changing what they call the contact time. State requires a minimum amount of time that chlorine has to work before it goes to the first customer. So knowing that ahead of time, 11 is the shortest distance. So we're going to have to add some piping that'll go outside of the building, make a loop and come back in. Then by adding piping, that slows the water down, that buys you more of that contact time that's required. And part of the engineering project is for them to design enough piping and making the pipe a little bigger for like 40 feet and then turning it around. That's how you build your contact time.
So this isn't just like a filtration system.
No, there's
Even-
additional piping that will need to be added because we're moving the fluorine disinfection from where it's currently at to help oxidize that iron and then catch it in a filter.
So each one of these wells needs a custom design.
Well, they're all going to be very similar in design, but some of them will require more piping than others, depending on the calculations that they do to determine contact time.
And this is pretty much a result that it's of being in the Arapahoe. Is that the issue?
No, it's in the Denver Basin wells and at the bottom end of what we call the Dawson, which is a higher quality water. Doesn't require a full water treatment plant. Like we have 4 treatment plants in town that deal with higher levels of iron and manganese and other constituents. This is kind of the aftermarket change that was unexpected. We did initial testing, figured the levels were low enough, we used system water, could dilute it, and we would never have to revisit it. But sometimes underground, I want to say magic happens, but things happen.
Right.
And we have to adjust for them. So this is I think the correct solution to try to remove this iron without having to build another, major treatment plant that would cost millions.
Right.
I have a quick question, Tom.
Yes.
It says contact piping in 1 cartridge filter. How often will the filter have to be replaced?
We're looking at, I would imagine, at least several months. It depends on the loading, how often we run that well. The filtration is really probably the cheapest part of the whole project. The contact piping and the excavation needed to run this piping out of the building and then turn it and then run it back. And maybe you make 2 loops. That's what the engineers determine. You might go from a 4-inch discharge and open a pipe to maybe 24 or 30-inch diameter for 40 feet and then turn it around and then bring it back in. But that's what we've had to do 20 years ago for well number 7, right out the window over here. When we had to build contact time, what we did in that case was add a parallel pipe at a bigger diameter. And as soon as it come out of the building, goes to that other pipe and then goes back. That's how the state approved the contact time required that well. So it's not an unusual project considering that we're groundwater wells and our biggest constituent in any of our wells is iron and manganese. If you're in the Arapahoe, you usually have to run that to a treatment plant because the flows are higher and you have to do a little more higher level of treatment for that.
Okay, any comments about which funding mechanism, if this were to be approved, everybody would be in agreement to?
I'm good with doing all 3.
Yeah, we should probably just get it done.
In all 3.
Yep.
Well, at least the design.
Yeah, the design piece.
Right, and we will come back to you once we bid out the
Mhm.
design.
Well, yeah, for $500,000, I think you're gonna come back to.
Yeah, you might want to know that.
Yeah.
But in that case, we could leg into each well separately if we had to on that.
We could set up the bid to make sure they give us pricing per well. And then you would have the option to do that. Yeah, we could do that. And same similar, you could do a package deal. Let's get all 3 done. Or let's get 1 done and then bid out the other 2 in the fall kind of thing.
Okay, any other comments or questions for staff? Okay, then I will look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 18-2025. A resolution approving an amendment to an engineering contract for design and engineering services for an iron removal system for wells number 11, 12, and 13.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Erickson?
Councilmember Chronic,
Yes.
Councilmember Romanella,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem King,
Yes.
Councilmember Abbott,
Yes.
Councilmember Fiorito,
Aye.
Mayor LaKind,
Yes.
Councilmember Kimball.
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes 7-0. Then if it's allowed without modifying the resolution, if board direction is sufficient, Mr. Cole, that we're opting for the 74.9 versus the 37.5 per well site, is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, so the
Absolutely.
board directs Tom to contract at the full amount. All right, wow, we're up to public comments already. Hang on a second. Public comments for items not on the agenda. Individuals attending in person may raise their hand to indicate their desire to comment. Individuals attending via Teams may raise their hand digitally to comment via connected devices. Please lower your hand when finished with your comments. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Is there anybody here in Town Hall public comment tonight? Ms. Shaper.
Good evening, council members and staff. My name is Haley Chapin from Tri-Lakes Cares. Just wanted to mention that Taste of Tri-Lakes Cares is coming up. The town has a table or a table and a half. Look forward to having you all there. Inviting also community members that are aware. May 14th at Spruce Mountain Ranch will be the Taste of Tri-Lakes Cares, similar to the TV show Network Chopped, where chefs get a surprise basket and have to make a unique dish out of it. We give that to local restaurants here who want to showcase the work that they do. So we'll have a couple twists. This year they'll be featuring their own cuisine, but they'll make a side dish with the theory of them using secret ingredients that we give them, which by the way are items from our food pantry that chefs don't typically like to cook with. So we challenge them to use the items in our food pantry to make something enjoyable. And we'll have some chef judges that will be coming out to judge those specific plates, but community members will get to taste the items showcased by the local chefs and help to encourage business at our local restaurants in town. So May 14th at 5:30 up at Spruce Mountain Ranch. Hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in Town Hall that would like to speak? Will, anybody online? Okay. And we'll close public comment. We'll get to Madeline's favorite part of the evening, future agenda items.
So I have 3 items that are for future. One of them is just kind of an informational thing. El Paso County would like to come and do a Childhood Awareness Month proclamation in April. So it looks like the April 7th meeting or the April 21st meeting. On the April 21st meeting, we're also having a proclamation for National Small Business Week. As of right now, the 21st is more open than the 7th, but either one, they would be fine on going.
21st sounds good to me.
21st.
Have an issue?
Okay. And then we'd also like to do our Arbor Day proclamation also in April. Arbor Day, I believe, is towards the end of April. So again, either date would work.
We having a thing, we doing anything, planting
Thing?
trees?
We,
Thing?
yeah, right now, we're tentatively scheduled for the 26th, I believe it is, whatever the Friday after, the last Friday in April is. 25th? Okay. April, yes. But we don't have all the details yet, but we're tentatively scheduled to do something around 11, 12 that day. So we will send out information as soon as the location is available. So both of those on the 21st. And then the only other thing I wanted to bring up, several of you have already responded, but since it's kind of late notice and I just sent out the email this morning, the fire marshal would like to do a mitigation tour of the project they did at Monument Lake. It looks like the majority like Saturday rather than next week. So if you are interested in that, if you could just let me know and I will coordinate that with the fire department for that tour.
Is that an extension of what Jonathan did the last time? This is just going to show what's been done?
Correct, yeah. So the project is almost done. They have some more work that they need to do when the weather's a little bit nicer, but for the majority, for the most part, that project is done. So he wants to take you on a tour and show off the work they did, yeah.
Remind me around about what time again?
I think we're scheduling sometime that morning, so between 9 and 10. We were trying to get an idea of what day was going to work the best, so I'll work out the details with him tomorrow.
Okay,
Great, thank you. That's all I have.
all right. Anybody else have a future agenda item sitting in the gallery back there?
Sorry, I do have one more.
Oh.
Thank you. So we are looking at March 27th at 3:00, doing another mock meeting to test the AV equipment when it's remote. Again, we our March 27th. So I believe that is Thursday at 3:00. And again, we don't need everyone's participation. We're just trying to test the system. So
We would be
That's-
off-site
Monument
at the church.
Presbyterian Church, yeah.
correct.
Okay. You can send out invites for that. That'd be great. That it? Okay, I would just, I'm gonna just, if you haven't seen, probably gonna need your tablet that day. There was a security update that was released the other day, so check your tablets for Apple releasing more and more patches to security issues. All right, next up is council comments. I've got 3, but I'll see who else has got something they want to say.
I just want to say that the PD awards were amazing.
Anything?
I'll just give a shout out to the gentleman with the "My Liver is Irish" t-shirt. That is
Great
fantastic. You win, and that is it.
We're not sure what you win, but
You win.
A cookie.
There's
We-
cookies.
We have a cookie
Yeah.
afterwards.
Okay, all right, so first thing I want to bring up is El Paso County or El Paso Teller County 911 Authority has a vacancy on their board effective this month. If anybody on the council would like to participate in that board or you want to know more about it, statement of qualifications, you need to send a letter of interest and a statement of qualifications via mail or email to the executive director of that board. They are looking for obviously people to volunteer. I don't know what it entails. If there's anybody who has interest, hit me up. I will provide you this letter and you can run with it from there. And Mr. Cole?
Just wanted to note, our firm represents the El Paso Teller 911 Authority, so that you're aware of that. It was disclosed when we started working for the town way back.
Okay, thank you
no.
for that reminder.
Matters have ever come up during this time that would create an actual conflict, but there's always that potential.
Okay, so anyway, if anybody has interest, I'm happy to provide this letter and you can run with it. And you already covered the church AV testing. And then the last thing, I would like to just discuss the process for moving forward with the hiring of a permanent town manager. As you all received an email today related to those candidates that applied for the position. And we have some next steps that I want to just have open discussion with council and Mr. Cole. But from a conversation we already had, we will be looking at interviewing those candidates at the next meeting on the 7th. We would have an executive session for those interviews. And then, Mr. Cole, what is it that we need to do in public after that?
So the process requires that you name a finalist, one or more finalists. The statute allows it to be a single finalist, but you have to name at least one or more finalists. And then you have to wait 14 days before you can make a selection and enter any kind of employment agreement. You can wait longer, but you have to wait at least 14 days, and you have to publish after you publish notice of who the finalists are. So in sequence, you would do your interviews. You would come out of that public meeting, have discussion, make a selection of who the finalists are, post notice of those finalists, wait 14 days, and then you could come back and deliberate in public who should be selected.
So based on those dates, with the 7th being the day that we would interview the two candidates, and then the discussion afterwards, the publication of the finalists would be made on the 8th of April. And that means the earliest we could we could get to that next phase would be April 22nd, which would mean we would have to call a special meeting because that would be after the 21st. So if everybody on the council agrees to a special meeting, otherwise we would not be able to proceed with getting to the contract negotiations until the first meeting in May.
Can I make a suggestion?
That's exactly why we're having.
I had a
this.
feeling. My suggestion would be, being as we have enough time to post it, why don't we just change the meeting to the 22nd and only meet once?
We could.
That's not bad.
That's.
I'll give him that.
You all heard it. Councilmember Romanello's idea there. We
St.
could.
Patty's Day.
This is what happens when you fly the same day as a meeting.
Huh?
Um,
It's the liver shirt.
I mean,
I am perfectly fine with us moving the meeting to the 22nd as well.
How
Everybody-
much, how much of the time, yeah, in terms of collapsing two meetings into one?
Well,
Oh.
it's just so we can just add that.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay,
Legitimately.
okay.
No, we have
No,
24 hours,
have how many
24.
notes
The-
to give there?
24.
The
Oh, yeah,
problem,
we have more than that.
yeah, the problem would be with if staff has a problem. Right?
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
why-
we don't
That's
have a
why I
problem.
suggested it.
Right. We don't have a problem.
Right,
Well,
so
better than
let,
not being here twice.
staff can let us know at
They
the
love
April
to be
7th
here at
meeting
night.
if there is a problem with the 22nd. And if there is, then we'll adjust.
Yeah.
We, we,
Let us know. I
we
mean,
just
I'm
need to
fine
have
either
one
way.
meeting a month per the charter anyway. So we can adjust the second meeting anytime
Yeah.
that we want.
Well, is staff okay with that? Being you wanted staff's feedback? Okay.
Yeah, they'll find out by either you can email us or you can tell us on the 7th.
We'll let Emily know and she can coordinate with council on that.
Cool. Yeah, Emily's not here.
Sooner the better for schedule, obviously.
Okay, that's all the council comments I had. Is there anybody else who's got more comments? Okay, we have guests. I was hoping to find out why all you're here because we're about to kick you out for an executive session.
Oh, yeah.
But
Maybe they want to come up.
yeah, we already went through public comment, but we have guests here. Is there something that you guys wanted to hear about or tell us why you're here?
Oh, good. You guys are here. Great.
Well, now you get to see what it's like to get kicked out of a meeting.
You guys picked a good night to get off early and check it off your box.
Yeah, normally it's several hours past this.
Yeah, you can have the gavel and
Yeah.
I was required to get a picture of her for her class. If she could hold the gavel, I'm sure maybe some extra credit. Come on, come on.
You guys take a picture?
Loose tonight. This is not unusual that this is not usual that we.
Everybody
Get
up.
closer.
All right, there we go.
Slide on down, guys.
It's tight. She's like, this is gonna be in the school paper.
You guys so
Welcome, of course. As long as it's not on Facebook, we're good.
Go bring them a cookie.
Oh, yeah. Thanks so much.
Well, you get a treat.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session. Should I, yeah, okay, okay. Pursuant to 24-6-402 sub 4B CRS for a conference with the town attorney and the town's water attorney to receive legal advice on specific legal questions regarding water supply, and pursuant to 246-402 sub 4E to determine positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiation, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators regarding proposed amendments with the Loop Water Authority and the Northern Delivery System.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the first executive session.
Mayor Pro Tem King,
Yes.
Councilmember Romanello,
Yes.
Councilmember Kimple,
Yes.
Councilmember Abbott,
Yes.
Councilmember Chronic,
Yes.
Mayor LaKind,
Yes?
Councilmember Fiorito.
Aye.
And just for that, you can read the second one.
We dismissing right afterward.
Are we adjourning afterwards?
There's no decisions to be made, right? So
Okay.
we'll adjourn afterwards.
All right, I move to go into executive session pursuant to 24-6-402 sub 4 sub B CRS for a conference with the town attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions regarding pending legal projects, and adjourn afterwards.
Second.
We have a motion and everybody seconded. Ms. Erickson?
Councilmember Abbott,
Yes.
Councilmember Romanello,
Yes.
Councilmember Kimple,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem King,
Yes.
Councilmember Chronic,
Yes.
Mayor LaKind,
Yes?
Councilmember Fiorito.
Aye.
That motion passes 7-0. We will ask our visitors to, we'll take a 10-minute recess while everybody gets to settled in. Okay, thank you.